Manobo, Manovo, or Minuvo means person or people. It may also have been originally Mansuba from man, which means person, and Suba, which means river, hence meaning river people. A third derivation is from Manobo, the name of a creek that presently flows to Pulangi River about 2 kilometers below Cotabato City. A fourth is from man, meaning first, aboriginal, and tubo meaning grow or growth. Manobo is the Hispanized form. The Manobo belong to the original stock of Proto-Philippine or Proto-Austronesian people who came from South China thousands of years ago, earlier than the Ifugao and other terrace-building people of northern Luzon. The term Proto-Manobo designates this stock of aboriginal non-Negritoid people of Mindanao. The first Manobo settlers lived in northern Mindanao in Camiguin, Cagayan, and some areas of Bukidnon and Misamis Oriental. Settlements are generally kin-oriented nuclear groups near the Sweden fields located on the ridges. The communities are widely dispersed and placed on high ridges above mountain drainage systems. In some areas, there are long houses that accommodate a number of families, usually of an extended kind. Leadership is placed on a highly skilled and socially powerful individual who builds up his following through various modes of alliances, including marriage. In a grouping, usually of kindred traditional community, they would recognize one datu as head. A number of datus would be united under a more sovereign datu up through a political pyramid with a sultan and a rahamuda holding sway in a larger territory. Although the kin relationship is bilateral, there is a bias toward the male in terms of decision-making and leadership. The woman holds a subordinated position in the society. The different Manobo languages belong to the Philippine subfamily of the superfamily of languages called Austronesian or the Malayo-Polynesian in the old literature. Some linguists theorize that the Mindanao languages belong to a subgroup of Philippine languages which they call Proto-Manobo. This proto-language, however, has not yet been reconstructed or dated. Manobo languages representative of the subgroups are Agusanon, Ata Manobo, Banwaon, Binukid of Mindanao, Cagayano of Cagayancillo Island, Cotabato Manobo, Dibabaon Manobo, Eastern Davao Manobo, Ilianon Manobo, Kidapawan, Kinamigin of Camiguin Island, Libonganin Magahat, Obo Manobo, Sarangani Manobo, Southern Cotabato and Davao Manobo, Tagabawa, Tigwa Manobo, Ubo of the Mount Apo region in Davao, Western Bukidnon Manobo, and Western Cotabato Manobo. A different language family is Dili, from which have sprung the languages of Dablaan, Pibuli, Teduray, and Jangan.
The common features of Manobo cuisine is that the main ingredients such as shrimps, falls, or pork are minced very finely and mixed with plant food that grows abundantly in their natural surroundings. This cooking method ensures that protein sources, which are harder to come by, are distributed evenly among the family members. The Ata Manuv have eaten varieties of rice which they cook tinalumbo or in a bamboo tubes. Dishes wrapped in leaves are called binugsong. The Tagabawa Bagupo have tinadtad na limukon or also known as minced fruit dap, ang tinadtad na dadang or the minced shrimp. The Hangan wrap their food in the leaf of the tawungol or the ground orchid before cooking. The Obo Manovo have tinapoy or also known as fermented rice, linapnap na butad or the grated corn, and tinatad na bakbak which means minced frog.
The Manobo's culture. The Samayaan is a native ritual in which omens are read in connection with the various stages of their farming cycle: clearing, planting, growing, and harvesting. The first day of the planting season marks the beginning of the Manobo year. The last day of harvesting is the ending. Cultivating rice and corn has been and still is a part of the Manobo way of living. Some Manobo villages have shifted to the cultivation of coconut for copra export. Corn and rice are planted in the month of February. The corn is harvested in July, but rice takes longer to grow and is harvested 4 months later. Throughout the year, the elders of the Manobo tribe are looking for the starlit sky to determine the season of planting, harvesting, fishing, and hunting. Each star can bring a different message and will guide the tribal group in their traditional way of living. This practice is called pamatyon, the Manobo's indigenous way of understanding the stars. A pregnant woman observes several taboo to protect the infant life and health. She stays indoors when the sky is red at sunset. For the bloodthirsty bosaw, malignant spirits are around. She must never run, for even just stabbing her too will cause a miscarriage. Marriage is traditionally by a parental arrangement which begins when each of two families chooses a spokesperson, preferably a dato or bai, who is known for eloquence and knowledge of custom law. All the groom's relatives, especially the dato or bai related to the groom's family, will contribute to the kagon. The wedding date is determined by the length of time the groom's family will need to raise the kagon. On the wedding day, the groom wearing a white head kerchief and his party walk to the bride's home. The bride is kept hidden behind a curtain in another room with someone guarding her. The groom's party is blocked at the doorway by the edipal, 2 or more of the bride's relatives who may ask the groom's party for a gift such as clothing or money. After the feast, the elders sit on the large mat for the Ititalgan Herayri to display the symbols for the bride's value. 10 piles of 10 kernels each are laid out in rows. Each pile symbolizes remuneration for the pains taken by the bride's family in rearing her. Marriage is an alliance system in which reciprocity and mutual obligation between the groom and bride's kinship groups are accepted.
The Manobo tribe of values. Despite the fact that the various Manobo communities have been separated, there is one common thread that binds them together. Each tribal group culture believes in one great spirit, usually viewed as the creator figure. The Manobo also believe that there are many unseen spirits who can intrude in the lives of humans to accomplish their desires. These spirits are both good and evil in nature and can raise anger and pleasure. There is a common belief that a Manobo hunter will be killed by his own dogs or prey if he does not ask for permission first from Lalawag, the god of all the forest kings, before going on a hunting trip. A Manobo community is mostly male-dominated. The man is considered as the head of the family, and he is the one who will make the family decisions. Only a royal, a dato, can practice polygamy, only with the consent of the first wife and her parents. The first wife will remain the head wife. The dato or chief must also have proven his bravery and leadership in battle as a bagani. This position can be passed on to a dato's children as long as they have the necessary qualifications. Village members are expect help in any way from their kinship group or persons related by marriage, and this relationship is named upakat or reciprocity. The Manobo are both strong in mind and spirit. Their cultural identity is firmly rooted in the land and its nature. It is maintained through storytelling, language, family, and the passing on of traditional skills and arts. The traditional way of life has not ended for most Manobos. Like any other tribal community in Mindanao, the Manobo have faced many cultural challenges in their past and will encounter even more in the future. They strive to uphold their values and traditions even while living in a modern society. Faced with new realities, ready to compete in the modern economic world instead of the world of nature. The Manobo tribe musical songs and ritual dances. The ahong is heard during festive occasions and includes in its repertoire the panihuman for the conversation, and for the Thanksgiving it is the badbad, for the reconciliation, tukubong, and for the clan reunion it is the malandoy. Manobo vocal music consists of ritual songs, which are narrative songs, lullabies, and songs of nature at the same time. According to PIFER 1965, there are 50 songs recorded in the Mid-Sayap area by Abraham, and it is based on occasion and purpose. Ritual songs are andal, a ceremonial request for the singer to begin ay ding-ding, a wake song, bityara, a benediction used in the langkat, hiya-hiya humiya, song at the Samayan ceremony, mahudlay, a wake song concerning the limokod, mga ninay, a bee hunting song, masundanayin, a wake song of women, masulanti, a wake song dialogue between mother, daughter, and young man that ends in a riddle, panangasangan, a medium song chanted while in a trance, panlalawag, a pre-hunting ritual song to lalawag, tamanda, a wake song considered dangerous because it attracts witches, tiwa. The various dances among the Manobo is to entertain, educate, and propitiate the gods. Among the Agusanon are the Sinunduk or Singanga, a dance ritual to ward off the epidemic busang pangaliyag. The courtship dance is the pangasawa, the marriage ritual, and kinusik-kusik squirrel dance. Those witnessed and described by Garba 1931, and in 1910 are the bathing dance, honey gathering dance, hair plucking dance, sexual dance, and dagger or sword dance. The Agusanon and Umayamnon Set, Cotabato Sot, and Western Bukidnon Quetzot are war dances of one or two warriors, each holding either a war bolo or a spear with a belt attached to it and a shield.
Tattoo design are as the same as those embroidered on their clothes with the additions of the binuaha or the crocodile figure. Ginibang, which means iguana, binuyo, or also known as betel leaf, and any other design that catches their fancy. The sayap is a bamboo hat made of a thick bamboo cut into a thin strips and woven. It has two layers which are either eritic grass or anahaw leaves. The Manobo have numerous types of baskets made of either a wicker worm or plaited rattan. The frame of basket is a cylindrical piece of wood with a flat top and a bottom. The whole basket is made watertight with tabon-tabon seeds filling up all spaces. The bobo is a fish trap made of rattan strips. The cage is about 1 meter long, a cigar shape with one end larger than the other. Mats are made from stalks of seed, a wild sage. These are dried, dyed, flattened, and boiled in red, black, yellow, or green dye before weaving. The limbutong is a sleeveless armor of abaca fibers dyed with several colors and woven in patterns that resemble the Manobo embroidery design. Manobo have Atocon riddles, panunggilangan proverbs, pangumanon folktales, fables, and humorous tales. Ito ang myths and legends and uwaging. Narrative poems and lyric poems are generally also ritual song addressed to gods. The Ilianon Manobo have the following narrative prose forms. Tudtol, a news item. Guhod, a historical account. And Titirima, a folk tale. Myths, by their very nature, explain how parts and aspects of the world come to be. In the Dibabawon myth, the child of the moon, or also known as Buwan and Suga, are happy parents of an infant. A myth about feuding gods in the sky explain why the east is red. Balak and Salagitungan were two of the deities who inhabited the sky world. The Manobo believe in the existence of the Pusod to Dagat, or the navel of the sea, into which the water falls when it evaporates or during low tide. Manobo myths reflect the religious beliefs of the people. A Western Bukidnon myths explain the sacredness of the Betel Chow. It means that people can attain immortality in recompense for their difficult and painful life on earth.
The Manobo's culture. The Samayaan is a native ritual in which omens are read in connection with the various stages of their farming cycle: clearing, planting, growing, and harvesting. The first day of the planting season marks the beginning of the Manobo year. The last day of harvesting is the ending. Cultivating rice and corn has been and still is a part of the Manobo way of living. Some Manobo villages have shifted to the cultivation of coconut for copra export. Corn and rice are planted in the month of February. The corn is harvested in July, but rice takes longer to grow and is harvested 4 months later. Throughout the year, the elders of the Manobo tribe are looking for the starlit sky to determine the season of planting, harvesting, fishing, and hunting. Each star can bring a different message and will guide the tribal group in their traditional way of living. This practice is called Pamatrin, the Manobo's indigenous way of understanding the stars. A pregnant woman observes several taboo to protect the infant life and health. She stays indoors when the sky is red at sunset. For the bloodthirsty bosaw, malignant spirits are around. She must never run, for even just stabbing her toe will cause a miscarriage. Marriage is traditionally by a parental arrangement, which begins when each of two families chooses a spokesperson, preferably a dato or bai, who is known for eloquence and knowledge of custom law. All the groom's relatives, especially the dato or bai related to the groom's family, will contribute to the kagon. The wedding date is determined by the length of time the groom's family will need to raise the kagon. On the wedding day, the groom wearing a white head kerchief and his party walk to the bride's home. The bride is kept hidden behind a curtain in another room with someone guarding her. The groom's party is blocked at the doorway by the Ed-Ipal, two or more of the bride's relatives who may ask the groom's party for a gift such as clothing or money. After the feast, the elders sit on the large mat for the Ititalgan Herayri to display the symbols for the bride's value. 10 piles of 10 kernels each are laid out in rows. Each pile symbolizes remuneration for the pains taken by the bride's family in rearing her. Marriage is an alliance system in which reciprocity and mutual obligation between the groom and bride's kinship groups are accepted.
Typical colors are red, black, yellow, green, blue, and white. Manobo ancestors had blankets of abaca fibers called linitungan if these had multicolor design and bias if plain white. The color of the body of the jacket and its matching skirt or trousers identifies the tribal group to which the wearer belongs. The Agusanon Manobo usually wear red with contrasting color for the sleeves and embroidery thread. The Umayonan Manobo wear royal blue and the Matigsalug for navy blue with red and white as the favorite embroidery or patchwork colors. The styles of the garment varies with each Manobo subgroups. The Agusanon Umpak or the Ilianon Kumbala, the jacket for both men and women is close to it is pulled over the head. Among the Tiguahanon, the women wear the pakabo, a blouse with flared sleeves. The men wear the binukat, which is the typical Manobo jacket. It is embroidered on all the seams, that is, the cuffs, shoulders, sides, necklines, and hemline at the waist level. Typical decorative colors are red, yellow, white, and blue. And among the Agusanon Manobo, persons in authority wear brighter colors than sleeves and commoners. The traditional hairdo for both sexes is a bun and blunt bangs. The woman wear hair bun on the crown of her head, whereas the man's bun is lower, halfway between the top of his head and his neck. The woman's bun is fastened in place by a bamboo comb with incised decorations or inlaid mother of pearl beds of circles, square, and triangles. The men's jacket is short, moderately close-fitting, a square cut, and long sleeve. Most Manobo men have two kinds of sawa or saal, which also known as tusser, one for working and another for festive occasions. The working tusser are close-fitting and plain, whereas the festive tussers are square cut, baggy, and embroidered in the typical colors and design on the sides and cuffs. The Cheft of Bagani had a special attire that was predominantly red. The red jacket and trousers were embroidered in the same colors and design as the ordinary man's attire. His red handkerchief was embroidered with white, blue, and yellow cotton yarn at the corner. The woman's blouse is as lavishly adorned as the man's jacket. There are two kinds of skirt, the saya and the malong. The skirt is held in place with a waistband consisting of braided neto or human hair, the ends of which are prevented from unraveling by a strips of cloth. Hanging from each ear of the woman is a wooden desk, 3 cm in diameter and laminated with silver, gold, or beaten brush wire. Balongkag are necklace made of multicolored small seeds, beads, small shells, crocodile teeth, and coins.
Manobo Tribe Celebrations. The Kaamulan Festival. It is an ethnic cultural festival held annually in Malaybalay City, Bukidnon in the Philippines from the second half of February to March 10, the anniversary date of the foundation of Bukidnon as a province in 1917. It is held to celebrate the culture and tradition of the 7 ethnic tribal groups: Bukidnon, Higaonon, Talaandig, Manobo, Matigsalog, Tiguahanon, and Umayamnon. that originally inhabit the province. It is the only authentic ethnic festival in the Philippines. Kaamulan comes from the Binukid word amul, meaning to gather. Kaamulan is gathering for a purpose, a datoship ritual, a wedding ceremony, a Thanksgiving festival during harvest time, a peace pact, or all of these together. The celebration, however, proved very popular, and together with national coverage, the Kaamulan Festival has become the regional festival of Northern Mindanao, as declared by the Regional Development Council on Region 10. The festival was cited for having a great potential to be included in the UNESCO and Tangible Cultural Heritage List.
Most Manobo inhabit the river valleys, hillsides, plateaus, and interiors of Agusan, Bukidnon, Cotabato, Davao, Misamis Oriental, and Surigao del Sur. The subgroup Manobo inhabits a contiguous area along southern Bukidnon, northeastern Cotabato, and northwestern Davao. The Ilianon, Libunganen Arumanen, and Kirintecan are in northern Cotabato. The Tigwa or Tigwahanon are concentrated in Lindagay and scattered all over the town of San Fernando Bukidnon, close to the border of Davao del Norte. Tigwa may have derived from Guwa, which means scattered, or the Tigwa River, whose banks they inhabit. The Umayamnon are scattered around the town of Cabanglasan Bukidnon and the interiors of Agusan del Sur. The western Bukidnon Manobo inhabit the southwestern quarter of Bukidnon Province. The 8 Manobo cluster groups includes the Cotabato Manobo, Agusan Manobo, Dibabawon Manobo, Matigsalog Manobo, Sarangani Manobo, Manobo of Western Bukidnon, Obo Manobo, and Tagabawa Manobo. The 8 Manobo groups are all very similar, differing only in dialect and in some aspects of culture. The distinctions have resulted from their geographical separation.